Hello friends, my name is Drishti and you are watching MCQ Practice Series by Drishti IAS. This series is part of our Target UPSC Prelims 2024 initiative. So in this episode, we'll be discussing certain MCQs from the environment section, and this will be the 7th set. We have already discussed 6 of them. These videos are available on YouTube channel, so you can go and watch these videos. Other than that, also there are different subjects for which we have done these MCQ practice. You can go and watch those videos as well. So let's start with the question number 1 of the episode. So consider the following statement. Greenpeace was founded in 1971 in Vancouver, Canada, with its headquarters in Amsterdam, Netherlands. Then second statement is the Earth Overshoot Day refers to the day when global demand for the natural resources for human need exceeds the amount that resources Earth is basically producing in a year. Okay. So now when we are talking about today's episode, mostly we will be talking about certain organizations. We will be talking about the UNFCCC, UNCCD, all these organizations which are important for you, and these organizations has been in news for one reason or another. So that is why this episode will be important for you, because obviously UPSC has this tendency to ask such questions which are related to your organizations. Okay, now here we are talking about the Greenpeace. So it was established in 1971 in Canada, Vancouver. So this statement is correct. When we are talking about the second statement, that is Earth Overshoot Day. So this is the day which we refer as a day on, or you can say on a day when the global demand, or you can say whatever resources we are using, the natural resources we are using, that demand increased more than the Earth's production. Okay, let's say Earth has a capacity of producing certain crops. Okay, now let's say Earth has a capacity of nearly 500 million metric tons. Okay, so that is the capacity of Earth to produce in a year, and by the time of August you will realize that the demand, or you can say the produce which humans are consuming, that exceeds to nearly, let's say, 600 tons. Okay, so now that day of August on which this demand is exceeding this this particular you can say 500 tons, that particular day will be considered as Earth Overshoot Day. Okay, so that is your Earth Overshoot Day, which is given here correctly. So option C would be your right answer. Coming to the explanation here, so when we are talking about the Greenpeace, before that there is this you can say World Environment Day. We can discuss that, started celebration from the 1972 from the Stockholm Human Environment Conference. So this particular conference, you must have heard of 1972 conference. This conference was the first conference of this type that has happened on the human environment basis, that is Stockholm Human Environment Conference. Okay, now Earth Overshoot Day marks the day when the global demand for the natural resources exceeded the amount of resources which are produced by the ecosystem or the Earth's ecosystem in a year. Okay, so that is basically your Earth Overshoot Day. When we are talking about the Greenpeace, that was the first statement. It was founded in 1971 in Vancouver, Canada. Okay, and headquarters is in Amsterdam in Netherlands. So option C is your right answer, which we have already discussed. Okay, now coming to the question number second. Consider the following statement with reference to the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification. So basically, they are talking about UNCCD. We have talked about desertification in the our geography lectures as well. But here, let's talk about this. India hosted 14th session of the Conference of Parties, that is COP40 of or you can say to UNCCD for the first time in September 2019. This statement is correct, right? Then second is UNCCD particularly committed to a top-down approach. When we are talking about UNCCD, basically they are talking about protecting the land from the degradation. Okay, protecting land from degradation. Now they are saying that it is basically on the top down approach, like this authorities will give you the direction, and then it will have a trickle down effect. Okay, so basically the most work is happening at the top, and then it is trickling down to the bottom layer. But that is not the case in the UNCCD, because what happens over here is that lands is a, when we are talking about land, that is a community resource. Okay, so basically in this particular UNCCD, we have this approach that is called bottom up approach, wherein all the local communities are also encouraged to go for the protection of the land from the degradation. Okay, so that is why bottom up approach is taken and not the top down approach. So only one would be your answer. Okay, now here you can see India hosted the 14th session of the COP14 of UNCCD that has happened in 2017. Then when we are talking about the UNCCD, it was established in 1994. 1992 we have had this Earth Summit, and afterwards there are certain bodies which were created. Okay, one of them was UNCCD. In 1994 it was created, and it is the only legally binding body, or you can say an international agreement, which is linking environment and development to the sustainable land management. Okay, I hope that is clear. So whenever we are talking about the sustainable land management, we are talking about UNCCD. Okay, now the convention on specifically addresses the arid, semi-arid, and the arid subhumid areas. Like when we are talking about the deserts or the areas which are almost grasslands and they might convert it into desert. Okay, or these areas wherein you have this lack of rainfall. So these are the areas where we are having a specific focus on, that is arid, semi-arid, and arid subhumid areas. Okay, they are known as dry lands. Okay, where some of the most vulnerable ecosystems and people are likely to be found. Now, UNCCD, it is particularly committed to bottom-up approach, okay, that increases the local people's participation in combating desertification and land degradation. Okay, so that is also we have already discussed. Okay, option A is your correct answer, which we have already discussed. Now, consider the following statement regarding the Global Geothermal Alliance. It is approved by UNFCCC, launched in 2015, COP21. Then the alliance aims to increase the installed capacity of geothermal power by 5 times by the year of 2030. Then third is India is not a member of this alliance. Now let's talk about what is geothermal energies. Okay, geothermal. When we are talking about geo, that means earth. Okay, and thermal, that means based on the temperature. So whatever energy we can generate from the interior of the earth, because that is having a good amount of temperature, and whatever energy we can generate from the earth, so that is basically a geothermal energy. Okay, so before going further, I would like to tell you this particular example over here. So I will take you a simple example and I'll explain the complex phenomena. So let's say here we can see that inside the earth, or you can say inside the interior of the earth, there are various hot streams. Okay, these streams are there, and there is hot water which is inside this interior of the earth. Now that hot water can be utilized, because that will have energy and that will be utilized as the electricity generating stations, and then you will utilize the temperature, or you can say the warmth of that water, and convert it into energy to run a particular industry, you can say. And then the cold water will be sent back inside the earth seams. Okay, so these seams are basically nothing but the internal pipes, or you can say this is basically internal structure fault lines which are present inside the interior of the earth. Now you have sent this cold water inside it. Again, because of the high temperature of the interior, this cold water will get converted into the hot water, and again we can use it. Okay, so basically what we are doing over here is that we are trying to, you can say, utilize the temperature, or you can say utilize the energies which are stored inside the earth interior, and then we are converting them into mechanical energies for our own mechanical or industrial output. We are using these energies. That is basically your geothermal energies. Okay, so here we can do it for various things like new well technologies, and the retrofitting existing well can be done so that we can utilize that. Then hybridization with the other renewable energies, like if we have solar and wind energy, etc., we can go for hybridization. Then novel power generation resources and technologies, new technologies basically they are talking about, and community heating and cooling. Okay, so all these things basically you utilize all these things for the geothermal energy capitalization. Okay, so that is the idea behind the geothermal energy. Now we are talking about here geothermal alliances, or the global geothermal alliance. When we are talking about this 2015 COP, that is basically your Paris. Okay, you must have heard about this Paris Agreement, etc. Okay, but this particular UNFCCC conference, which has happened in Paris in 2015, COP21, that was the time when this particular alliance was created. So the statement 1 is correct. Now, alliance aims to increase the installed capacity of the geothermal power generation by 5 times. So this is also correct. Okay, so When we are talking about the third, that India is not a member, India does not have any reason to not be a member of it, because this is talking about a renewable kind of energy. So India is a member of it. So that is why this statement is incorrect. 1 and 2, A would be your right answer. Okay. Now here you can see that geothermal, global geothermal alliance that was launched at COP21 at Paris in December 2015. The Geothermal Alliance serves platform for the dialogue, collaboration, and the coordination action between the geothermal industry, policymakers, and the stakeholders. The statement was correct. Then aim is to achieve a five-fold increase in the installed capacity for the geothermal power generation and more than two-fold increase in the geothermal heating by 2030. Okay, India is a member of this alliance, so option A is your right answer, which we have already discussed. Okay, now question number 4. Arrange the following events in the chronological order and select the correct answer from the given code below. Okay, the Rio Earth Summit. Okay, so in 1972, what happens is that there was this particular report, that is limit to growth. This report was given by Club of Rome. Now that is when we realized that our environment is critical for us, how we are going for the development and impacting the environment very badly, and from where we started this journey of protecting the environment. So limit to growth was the, you can say, report which came in 1972. In then 1972 there was this particular Stockholm conference, you can say, that has happened over here, and this is the first global human environment conference, which we have already discussed in the question number 1. Okay, and the output of this particular you can say conference was that we have come up with particularly in 1987 we have come up with a report that was one common future report. That one common future report was the report, or you can say this was also called as the Brunt report, Brundtland report. Okay, Brundtland report. So when this report came, this gave the idea of sustainable development. Okay, they gave the concept of the sustainable development, and then in 1993 we had this landmark summit, that is Rio Earth Summit. Okay, so now when we are talking about the Rio Earth Summit that happens in 1992 to actually celebrate the 20 years of the Stockholm Summit, which has happened in 1972. Okay, then publication of the Brunt report that was happened in 1987, which we have already discussed over here. Then enforcement of the Montreal Protocol that happened in 1989. This particular protocol was there, that happened in 1989, and publication of the limit to growth report, that was 1972. This is where everything started. So we can say that the force was the first phenomena which was observed, then 2, then 3, and then 1. Okay, 4 2 3 1, option B would be your right answer. 4 2 3 1. Okay, so here they have talked about these reports. 1972 we had the limit to growth that was produced by the Club of Rome, the first human environment conference that has happened in 1972, that is Stockholm conference. Then in 1987 we have one common future report, that is the Brundtland report, and then the concept of the sustainable development came in 1987. In 1989 we have this Montreal Protocol, and then Earth Summit was happened in 1992 to celebrate 20th anniversary of the Stockholm conference. Okay, so that is clear. Now moving ahead, question number 5. Consider the following statement with reference to Geological Survey of India. Geological Survey of India. Okay, now it is a statutory body under the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. It assesses the environment impact on animals. The red data book prepared the details of fauna of India and fauna of the states. Okay, now let's talk about this particular society. When we are talking about this society, this was established in 1916. Okay, and it is not a statutory body. Okay, it is not a statutory body, but it is under the Ministry of Environment and Forest Change. So this statement is incorrect. Now it assesses the environmental impact on the animals. So this is correct. When we are talking about this red data book prepares the details of fauna of India and the fauna of states. So this is also correct. Option C would be right answer, that is 2 and 3. Okay, now moving all these things, here you can see Geological Survey of India, sorry, that is Geological Survey of India, that was organized under Ministry of Environment and the Forest, and it was established in 1960. Okay, and the work or the objective is to go for the survey and detect the and the research the animals over here. Okay, so they can go for the exploration, survey, inventory, monitoring of the biodiversity in the various state ecosystems and protected areas in India, study the classification of the all living components, periodic review of the status of endangered and the endemic species, preparing red data book preparing details of fauna of India and the fauna of state. Okay, now moving further, question number 6. Consider the following statement regarding India's National Wildlife Action Plan NWAP year 2017 to 31. Okay. Now, when we are talking about these National Wildlife Action Plans, there are various such plans which were available or they were made. Okay, so this is the third national plan, National Wildlife Action Plan, and the NWAP is unique because India acknowledged the concern over the impact of climate change on the wildlife. Okay, now these two statements are correct. Okay, because these are general statements in the nature. When we are talking about this is the third or second, this is the third one. Okay, so there are three plans which are there in the public domain. Here you can say first was in 1982. It was declared in 1982, but it was for the time for 1983 to 2001, and then second was 2002 to 2016. Then third was 2017 to 2031. Okay, so that is the current plan which we are talking about. So it is given over here. Okay, and that was on the recommendation of the Black Committee. Okay, so please remember that. Now there are 5 components and 17 subjects which are included in the third plan. So it is a scheme landscape based approach has been taken in that plan for the wildlife conservation, and NWP3 focus on the conservation of the genetic diversity and the sustainable development. Okay, now question number 7. National Green Tribunal has been established for the effective and the speedy disposal of the cases related to the protection of environment and conservation of forest and other natural resources. Which of the following Environment Act is subjected to NGT, comes under the jurisdiction of you can say NGT. Okay, now NGT have nearly 6-7 acts on which they are acting. Okay, so when we are talking about these acts which are given, Environment Protection Act, yes, this is there. Biodiversity Act, it is also there. When we are talking about the Wildlife Protection Act, that is not there. Indian Forest Act is not there. The Public Liability Instrument Act is there. Okay, so 1, 2 and 5 is your correct answer, that is option B. Now there are 6-7 acts which are given over here, that is Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1974. Then there was this Water Cess Act 1977. Then Forest Act, that was 1980. Air Prevention and Control Act 1981. Environment Protection Act 1986. Public Liability Insurance Act 1991, and there is this another you can say, that is Biodiversity Act 2002. Okay, so I hope this is clear. Now moving further, consider the following statement regarding, or you can say in the context of the Scheduled Tribe and Other Traditional Forest Dwellers Act 2006. It recognized the rights of nomadic or pastoral communities over traditional seasonal resources. Okay, second statement is the collection of the minor forest produce is exempted from all revenue or duties or any other charges. Okay, so when we are talking about these two statements, or when we are talking about this particular act, that is the Scheduled Tribe and the Other Traditional Forest Dwellers Act, that was basically an act to give the ownership of certain you can say forest produce to the the forest dwellers. Okay, because they are living there for generations now. So that is why these two statements, when we are talking about it recognizes the rights of the nomadic and the pastoral communities, this is correct, and the collection of the minor forest produce is exempted from all the revenues or duties, that is also correct. Option C is your right answer. Here you can see under this act, that is 2006 act, that seeks to recognize the forest right of the Scheduled Tribe and the other traditional forest dwellers who have been forest dwellers for many generations, ensure their livelihood and the promote forest conservation. Okay, they are basically giving the right of ownership, and these nomadic or the pastoral communities which are living over there, they are entitled to fish and other forest produce or produce from the water bodies, access or the entitlement of the pasture land over there, and other community rights which are present over there traditionally. So this is why this particular act was there. So that is the basic objective of the act. Then when we are talking about the collection of the minor forest produce, that has been exempted from all the revenues or duties, because if that is produced, that is basically put under this particular duties, or this that will actually impact the you can say livelihood of this person. Okay, and when we are talking about the forest lands can also be used for the recommendation of the Gram Sabha. On the recommendation of the Gram Sabha, there can be some public facilities which can be made over there, like schools, hospitals, dispensaries, etc. That is for the you can say development of the societies which are living over there, like tribal societies or the you can say traditional forest dwellers which are living over there, for that only. And Gram Sabha has been given the power in this regard. Okay, so that is an important point for you to remember. Now moving further, question number 9. Which of the following statement is or are correct with reference to the online continuous emission monitoring system OCEMS of the Central Pollution Control Board, that is which is body to control pollution in India. CPCB has made it mandatory for industry to install OCEMS. Okay, so that is general statement, and when we are talking about it is for the monitoring, so for the industry it is mandatory. Distilleries, including fermentation industries, sugar industry, fertilizer industries, has been initially excluded from the OCEMS reporting. Now the thing is, these are the industries which are responsible for the emissions. Okay, so obviously they will, why would they exclude them? Okay, so that is prima facie an incorrect statement. Then OCEMS is able to send SMS to authorities when the pollution levels are violated. Since it is an online emission monitoring system, so there are chances that that statement would be true, because if it is online system, there can be you can say install a prompt that for that particular limit, afterwards that SMS can be sent. Okay, so option 1 and 3 is right, so B is your right answer. Okay, so here you can say that it has been made mandatory for industries to install OCEMS since 2015 by CPCB. Industries for which OCEM is mandatory are distilleries, whatever we have discussed in the statement, sugar industries, fertilizer, paper, pulp, etc. For them, this particular system was become mandatory from the 2015. All the industries like pharmaceutical, dyes, dye intermediaries, refineries, thermal power, plants, etc. These are part of this. Okay, now this will send SMSs, so this is also correct. Then last question, that is question number 10. With reference to the coastal regulation zone CRZ, consider the following statement. This includes the water area up to a distance of 12 nautical miles from the coast. This statement is correct. When we are talking about this CRZ, these are basically some eco-sensitive zones basically, so that is why there has been given certain kind of extra focus to them. Okay, so they are for the 12 nautical miles from the coast, and then it restricts fishing in this particular area. Now coastal regulation zones are also for the betterment of the fishing communities which are living over there. So obviously if it is betterment for the fishing communities, so obviously fishing would be allowed in that area, otherwise their livelihood will be lost. Okay, so that is why this statement is incorrect. Mining activities are prohibited, obviously it is eco-sensitive zone, that is why mining activities are prohibited. Okay, so 1 and 3 is the right answer. Option B would be your correct option. Okay, so here it is given when we are talking about these areas, that is 12 nautical miles from the coast. Apart from this, it produces no development zone up to 100 meters from the high tide level. Okay, objectives are preservation of the livelihood of the traditional fishing communities, then conservation of the coastal ecology to promote economic activities which are necessary for the coastal zone, and not allowing the mining for limestone and the similar minerals. Okay, and for your practice, there is this question: which of the following has been established and administered under the Wildlife Protection Act? Wildlife Sanctuary, National Park, Biosphere Reserve, and the organic gardens. Okay, so there are codes given, and you have to choose the correct answer over here. Okay, with that, I would like to wrap up this session. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.